And the fact that the CIA was researching this shows how real and how serious manifestation actually is. I was baffled at some of the details that are found in this document and how much in depth it goes into manifestation and how it actually works. Hello my loves, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to get really serious and talk about how the government and the CIA researched the science of manifestation in consciousness 40 years ago. In 1983, the CIA did a classified project that would research consciousness, the nature of reality, and how manifestation works, and called it the Gateway Process. It was researched by the Monroe Institute, which is taught still to this day. This classified project was made declassified 20 years ago in 2003, and here is what they have to say about manifestation. I was baffled at some of the details that are found in this document and how much in depth it goes into manifestation and how it actually works. As a science nerd, I love learning about the science of manifestation. Manifestation to this day is still seen by the majority of the public as, you know, something that's a little funny. You know, some people will say, oh, I'm gonna manifest it, but they say it in like a funny way. People don't really take you seriously when you talk about manifestation. I'm talking about most of humanity, not the people in our community, because if you're watching this video, you are a seasoned manifester. Actually, last year I was talking to someone who had actually never heard of the law of attraction. Never heard of it, didn't know what it was. So there are still a lot of people that are completely in the dark as to how manifestation works. And the fact that the CIA was researching this shows how real and how serious manifestation actually is. Because if it were just a woo-woo thing and, oh yeah, I'm just gonna create a vision board and live in my fairy tale world, why would they research it, right? And back in the day, they were scared that the Soviets were going to make too many advances, scientifically speaking, in the term of remote viewing consciousness. I believe they wanted to catch up on the Russians' work, because the Russians actually are really, really advanced when it comes to such things of the non-physical realm and consciousness. They've done a lot of research. I always talk about the research of pyramids that the Russians did. I have a pyramid in my home, and all my neighbors ask me why my lemons are so big. They are so big because of my pyramid. But of course, I do not tell that to anyone. My pyramid is secret or only shared with the select few that I can trust. At this point, I don't really care if I'm perceived as crazy by the majority of the public, because this is science. So I wanted to read, I'm going to put on my blue light glasses. I wanted to read this excerpt of patterning of the gateway process, because I feel like it absolutely changed the game. So a few weeks ago, I did a video on subliminals, and on that video, I was talking about the gateway process, and I read a little bit about the nature of consciousness and that we live in a simulation, and that nothing in this reality is physically set. That was how I was explaining that subliminals can work physically speaking, because nothing rests. This is the law of vibration. Everything always moves. Nothing at the subatomic level. Nothing is still. Everything is empty space. If you would shrink all the solid matter of the universe together, what's actually solid in the atom, you could shrink it into a pea-sized. That is all the matter in the universe. Everything else is empty space. So when we connect to empty space, that's how we can manifest. And you guys absolutely loved that video. I'm going to link it right here. And so I wanted to dive deeper, specific on this topic of manifestation. And so on page 22 or 23 of the gateway process, they talk about this technique called patterning. Now, the gateway process says this technique involves use of the consciousness to achieve desired objectives in the physical, emotional, or intellectual sphere. It involves concentration on the desired objective while in a focused 12 state. Those focus states are based on the hemi-sync tapes that the Monroe Institute developed to achieve brain cohesion and tap into higher realms of consciousness. It involves concentration on the desired objective while in a focus 12 state, extension of the individual's perception of that objective into the whole expanded consciousness, and its projection into the universe with the intention that the desired objective is already a matter of established achievement, which is destined to be realized within the time frame specified. In other words, feel that you already have it, and you will. This particular methodology is based on the belief that the thought patterns generated by our consciousness in a state of expanded awareness create holograms, which represent the situation we desire to bring about, and in so doing, establish the basis for actual realization of that goal. So basically it talks about the holographic nature of reality, and that you can project whatever you want to create outwards, and that actually in the invisible realms creates a hologram. Isn't that crazy? But it gets even better. Once the thought-generated hologram of the sought-after objective is established in the universe, it becomes an aspect of reality which interacts with the universal hologram to bring about the desired objective, which might not, under other circumstances, ever occur. In other words, the technique of patterning recognizes the fact that since consciousness is the source of all reality, our thoughts have the power to influence the development of reality in time-space as it applies to us if those thoughts can be projected with adequate intensity. Feeling is the key. However, the more complicated, and this is key, this is crucial. However, the more complicated the objective thought and the more radically it departs from our current reality, the more time the universal hologram will need to reorient our reality sphere to accommodate our desires. This would explain why some of the bigger things that we try to manifest take more time. Now, is it possible to manifest rapidly? Absolutely. But here's what the Monroe Institute and the Gateway Process and the CIA have to say about forcing manifestation. And this is huge because I see so many people saying that you can have anything at any time of the day. I don't believe that that is true, and I think that people who share that and teach that lack wisdom and are completely ego-based. Monroe trainers caution against attempting to force the pace of this process because the individual could succeed in dislocating his existing reality with drastic consequences. In other words, the example I like to give is, let's say you are pregnant, and we all know that a baby takes 9 months to come into this physical reality. Imagine you would tell yourself, oh, believing that is just a limiting belief. I'm gonna manifest my baby to be here in 3 months. Drastic consequences, you guys. That baby will not survive if it is born at 3 months. Everything has its appointed time, and again, I'm gonna share this again. However, the more complicated the objective sought and the more radically it departs from our current reality, the further your goal is away from your current reality, the more time the universal hologram will need to reorient our reality sphere to accommodate our desires. But it will still happen. So that is where detachment comes in. So I believe the Monroe Institute did a fascinating job at explaining the nature of consciousness, reality, and manifestation. And I personally loved reading about the Gateway experience and how it ties into manifestation. Everything in this reality, everything in this universe is conscious. The universe itself is self-aware and is conscious. I have personally tried the hemisync tapes. Now, it's very hard to not fall asleep listening to these tapes, but I've had some very profound experiences trying these hemisync tapes. It definitely does work, and I may even try out their entire program in the future if I have the time to do it. Who knows? So let me know in the comments down below what was your biggest takeaway from this video. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you soon.